Well, because they think it's also with Daniel O'Reilly, whose name I just got wrong.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, man. Sweating, but good. It's hot. But...
hottest day on planet Earth, I
is
swear.
It? Yeah, it must be.
For London, it is.
But yeah, good to be here, mate.
It's one of those things we were saying yesterday, we were doing a record last night, and it's like being British, trying to be grateful for the weather, but also like having the ability to be like, this is fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, man.
But no, thanks for joining us. And yeah, I mean, I think with the pods, we were just talking about it, like we try and have guests from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And I think the listeners kind of really benefit from it, because it's not, you know, some episodes people probably listen through to it and go, you know, may not have related so much to that one, but then the next one they kind of pull things in. So for us, it's really important, and it's such an important conversation to, you know, talk about sobriety and all the amazing things that it can bring, even when it is tough.
Yeah, I was just like I was saying to you in the lift on the way up here, I haven't done a podcast in over a year. Like,
wow.
And it used to, I do my own podcast obviously, but it used, going on others used to help me, you know, like sharing, like when you're in the rooms, if you've ever done that. And recently I was thinking to myself, like, I need to put some more work in. I need to remind myself of the journey, so to speak, because you can get a bit complacent. So thank you for having me. It helps me talking about it as well.
Mate, absolute pleasure. And we were just saying before as well, for the listeners, when Tom and I started the podcast, we came up with a podcast name, which was Menace to Sobriety. And then we did some research and someone had fucking taken it.
Yeah, thank you. Most original name ever, clearly. Yeah.
So funny. But how just before we dive into sort of your journey, the podcast has done really well for you, right? And was that really accountable for you in your journey? Because it's had a few different guises, right?
Yeah. So like I'm ADHD as well, so I'm mental, right? And I get like hyper fixated on things. And when I finally admitted that I had a problem, I knew that unless I made my life about, not my life, but because my life is creating content and share, like I'm a creative, right? So if something pops into my mind in a day, it either turns into a joke or there might be something nice about my family or something, but it's all content. And I love my audience that I've got on my social media. They've been with me through such a journey. I just knew that when I committed to it in my mind, I was like, I have to get sober. I have to stay sober. This is it. I have to admit it. I have to become like accountable for everything. I knew that I had to build something that I could work on around my life, my lifestyle, my content. So the podcast was just a natural thing. But at the beginning of the podcast, I was a right mess because it was like fucking days 1 to 10. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I got sober on that podcast. So like every episode, I just thought to myself, if I try and, I was desperate to learn what was going on with me because I didn't think I was an addict or what an addict was. In fact, I was in complete denial. And I learned so much. So I spoke to authors, psychologists, other addicts, everything, and slowly, bit by bit, untangled the mess in my mind until I was like a year. And then it became a bit obsessive. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I need to step back because there is other aspects to my life.
Yeah.
And some of my followers were going, shut up. Like, we get it, mate. You can't handle your coke. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, just like...
They're like, there's nothing wrong with me, mate.
Fucking... Yeah, quitter. Also like you can only delve into your own brain so much before it can become a little bit negative, a little bit self-obsessive.
Totally agree. I think that's something I learned in therapy a lot, was actually sometimes knowing when to shut the box.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can keep going and keep pushing and keep pushing actually to a pretty dark place.
Yeah, and we all run the risk, I think, as addicts that sobriety becomes our identity again, because I believe that addiction is basically an identity crisis. Like, it's like you're not comfortable in your own skin, you don't know who you are, and you're constantly trying to, that's what it was for me anyway, constantly trying to escape feelings or who I was. And then suddenly I was this sober guy, and then I just thought, you know, just, you don't have to just focus everything on it, start repairing other aspects of your life. So I stepped back from it a bit, and then I came back to it later on and just done my own weird sort of monologue ones where I wasn't in doing, like, just emptying my brain.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It was weird, but some people liked it. Some people were just like, mate, are you back on the gear or something? Because I was just
what
like...
time is this? Yeah.
I'm like,
twitching.
So, anyone want to start a business? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm off the podcast at the moment. I've learned through my sobriety to not put too much pressure on myself and get fixated on things. I've got so much other stuff going on that it's okay to stop for a bit and step back.
100%.
It's like everything, isn't it? It's like the elusive balance, trying to, balance stuff that makes you feel good, podcast, family life, my kid just turned 7 and I'm like, where's that gone?
Oh, don't.
Like, it's crazy. But I think what would be useful for our listeners is maybe just delve back a little bit. So if you want to step into Jamie's time machine.
It's a fucking hot time machine today, really.
And we're back. So, young Daniel, what's your first memories of like alcohol growing up?
My family drinking. I always get a bit nervous talking about this because I feel like I'm being out of order to my mum. But my mum's an alcoholic. I think I'm kind of coming to terms with that. When she comes to my house now, she comes with a bottle of whiskey still. Do you know what I mean? But she back in the day, it wasn't as bad as that, but it was family parties and everyone was drinking. And for me, I was waiting for my turn. Do you know what I mean? My opportunity to drink. It's like a coming of age thing. And I started drinking like most kids. Well, I don't know if most kids do, but, nicking bits of drink in the family parties and getting pissed with my cousins and stuff like that when I was young, like 9, 10. Do you know what I mean? And then everything to do with my school life was drink and drugs. Everyone at school talking about who can get alcohol and getting pissed down the park at the weekends. And then coke sort of probably came into my peripheral sort of friendship circle when I was about 15. And I probably got on it the first time when I was about 16 or 17.
Wow, so that's young.
Yeah, and then was probably a casual, user of, like, if there was big weekends or festivals or stuff like that through my early years till I was about 20, 21. And then it was probably every weekend.
Wow.
After that.
That age, sort of, I guess, 9, 10, drinking alcohol, family parties, the kind of the fun around it, but then it kind of really escalating in young primary school, really young teens. What was it giving you and your friends at that time? Like, did you guys just think you're fucking the big I am, or was it like, were you getting something out of it personally? Did something switch in your brain?
Well, I came from from work that I've done on myself and from counselling. Like, I had quite a traumatic. I didn't think I did until I look back, but I had quite a traumatic childhood. My dad wasn't the best to my mum, and I maybe saw quite a lot of bad stuff when I was younger. And then they had a really bad divorce. And then my dad was constantly fighting to see us and turning up at the school. So it was quite like, it was very traumatic, and like there was a lot of screaming and shouting and trauma and fighting and physical violence and all of that stuff growing up. So I think I felt naturally uncomfortable. I think that's the best way to put it. I felt angry and I was uncomfortable and I felt like abandoned a little bit. I mean, my mum moved away when I was 15. So from the age of 15, I lived on my own.
Wow.
Yeah, she moved to Cornwall. But later on, the problem that I had when all of this happened to me when I went sober is I never thought I had a problem, because my view of addiction was, and this is all the work that I do now around my sort of charity and the film that I've just done, just wrote a film and we just shot it, is all based around what we think addiction is. And I didn't think, I thought addiction was you can't stop. Like you wake up in the morning and you drink and you do gear and everything like that. Whereas addiction can be not how often you drink, but what happens when you do.
Yeah.
And because I could take a few days off in between my sessions, I never thought I had a problem. And that, I've got a group called Men and Their Emotions with this band here. I've got 55,000 lads in this group on Facebook, 55,000 of them. And they're all, they can share their problems in there, and then other lads can chip in. Yeah. They can post anonymously, and then lads can chip in with lived experience.
Wow. And
you'll be surprised how many of them don't even realise they've got a problem.
Yeah, mate, something we've really, I guess, championed that idea of habitual addiction rather than physical dependency. Because I was the exact same. Like, I'd probably get on the gear 3 or 4 times a week, be able to have time off. But I'd even know I was going to do it before I did it, and I'd already pick up before I had the drinks, but then it would lean into 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're so right. It wasn't until I went sober that I was like, oh yeah, I was fucking addicted. Yeah, you're doing that much gear and drinking that much. Of course you're an addict.
And my I was upset for like my 20s and 30s. I had serious mental health issues. I was angry. I thought I was bipolar because I was like really happy some minutes, and then sometimes I was down. I was having these horrific come downs where I was having like fight or flight. Some of my friends now that still drink and do drugs are like, mate, will you shut up about it? Like, you're making it like it. I've lost so many friends, more or less all of my friends.
Wow.
I've got like a handful, because they're all still in it and they all do it. And by me, like, I hate to say it, but like all of my close friends from school, like there's 7, 8 of them. And it breaks my heart, and I still can't really get my head around it or get over it. But when I came out and started talking about what I was doing and how I was feeling, I think to them, and especially to their partners, a lot of it was like, if he's got a problem, then what about you? Do you know what I mean? Because we were all in that mix, but what I realise now is I was never sober, because if I was 1 or 2 sessions a week, I was either coming down or going up.
Yeah.
And I used to even feel strange. I can remember if through some weird reason I hadn't drank or done drugs in like 4 days, I started being like, oh, fucking hell. Like, I'd feel like, what the fuck is this? Like, the light is coming back into life.
Kill that. Get rid of that.
I can remember towards the end, because it got really fucking bad for me, but I can remember towards the end, I was experiencing like clarity from stuff that I was doing, like when I boxed, or I'd done an MMA fight with Harvey from So Solid, not Price. Just got to clarify it, but I lost, so I would have won the other one. But no, I trained for that, and I was like, oh, well, 3 months off it, and I was like, fucking hell. I mean, I was clucking, and I was still doing bits and bobs on the side, but I had this like experience, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm fucked. Like, I knew then I was fucked because of how good I felt when I was off it. You know what I mean? It's mad.
It's interesting when you say about like the, losing people, because it is like you're shedding your skin. And I think to people that are still very embroiled in like the sesh, I suppose you probably became like a walking mirror, right? And people just don't want to look at it.
Yeah, I've got to hold my hands up, and my journey is very much about accountability, and I was a twat towards the end to a lot of my friends, or at least I've got to hold some accountability, because when I finally decided that I had a problem, and that my wife and my kids, because I'd lost them and I wanted them back, and I wanted to go rehab, and I wanted to sort my life out, I didn't give a fuck about anyone else. I didn't. Not my work, not nothing, just my wife and my kids. And I closed myself off. I wouldn't go to the pub, I wouldn't go out. I stopped talking to certain people. And my wedding, I never got sober for my wedding, and that was the last time that everyone was together, and I was fucked, and I forgot to thank my best man. I probably didn't put a good account of myself, and my stag do, I probably didn't, I was fucked. Like, I mean, when I used to get fucked, I'd be like loud, rude, drunk, throwing money around, arrogant. So towards the end of my drinking and doing drugs, because I went sober and then come back to it, I didn't call it a relapse, because I was like, no, I haven't actually, I went sober.
I made the choice.
Yeah. I went sober for my missus, because she was like sick of it. And then Christmas was coming, I was like, and my mates were like, come on, what are you doing? Like, they were really against this whole sobriety thing, and I never spoke about it publicly, but I'd done it privately. And then Christmas was coming, I was like, do you know what? I've proved it. I haven't got a problem, because I've done like 4 months. So, and then as soon as I started drinking again, it got so bad that I think I realised that I had a problem then, and then I tried to consume as much as I could before I had to go properly sober.
Right.
And that turned into like 6 to 8 months, I think.
Just
fucking carnage. I managed to ruin everything.
Wow.
Everything. Lost my missus, couldn't see the kid, couldn't go home to her, and fucking I said awful stuff to her family, and just everyone else was the problem, not me. You know how it gets, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, I think I fucked up a few friendships, and then when I should have been repairing them, I closed the door because I was working on myself. And then when it was time to open the door, a lot of people were like, just like, we don't even know you now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough. In that period in your 20s, when did you start doing the content creation stuff? Like, when did Dapper come along? And I guess the question I was going to ask is, how did that character, because obviously it is a character, play into your journey as well? Because it did have a certain persona, and it did have a certain group of fans, I guess.
100%. I think in my 20s, where I was just using for fun, drinking and session like normal people. When I started becoming like famous, I guess, because at the time there wasn't really social media influencers. That wasn't a thing. It was Vine. It was Vine, and I blew up on Vine, and then I was the first to sort of hit 1 million on Facebook and Snapchat, I was the first one to, you know, it was like when social media was just fucking starting.
And when was that, like 2013, 2014?
So, yeah, earlier than that, 2011, 2012. Right, okay. I mean, social media had been around a while, but there was no one was creating content. It wasn't content creators. It was like...
There was like funny video. From different people,
So it happened really fast, and I got my TV show, my ITV2 TV show, and the management company that I had just fucking was like... Because what happened was I worked on cruise ships as a comedian, so I was flying out and doing stand-up comedy, coming back, flying out, coming back, and all of this stuff. And I was getting to about 24, 25, and I was like, I want to be home. All my mates are having fun in Clapham, and that's where they lived. And da-da. So I got a job as an estate agent, and then ended up opening my own estate agency. And I had to be really sensible because I had clients and fucking landlords and that. And I was doing comedy in the comedy clubs, and I was dying because on the cruise ships, it's very family friendly. And in the comedy clubs, they want fucking naughty stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to create an alter ego because of my work. And I was leaning into my everything that was going on around me was lads, you know. And that's when I was funny, when I was out with my mates, and I used to really amplify my comedy in front of my friends. And I had a few of my friends that failed horrifically with women. And, you know, I just started writing comedy about my friends and created that character and took those jokes on stage. And I thought people would be wise to that because it was so outrageous. Do you know what I mean? It was so, you know, and it was all word play. Do you know what I mean? Or sketch comedy. Like, it's like Ali G. Do you know what I mean? Or fucking, you know, there's loads of them, you know, like Lee Francis or whatever. It's clearly a joke. But I think because the accent's the same, it was shot on my phone, and the audience maybe couldn't tell the difference. It became controversial really quickly. Got my TV show, and I was doing personal appearances at nightclubs. I was making a fortune doing like 4 of them a week for a couple of grand a piece. Wow. When I was fucking skint, I grew up on a council estate, but I had to drink to get through them because I didn't like I couldn't comprehend the idea of fame. Do you know what I mean? Or even though people probably watch this and go, "Oh, you're not fucking Brad Pitt," but it's like social media. It's not monopoly money. It's not real. Yeah. It's social media fame. But at the time, it felt real. Yeah. Because people were queuing up for pictures, and I was getting paid to go to clubs and all of this, and it was just selfie queues, and it was like, oh wow, got a TV show and all that. But I felt like I was fucking blagging it, like it weren't real. Do you know what I mean? It was all happening so quick. And I kind of knew in the back of my head that I couldn't control what was going on. This management company were pushing it hard. So I drank heavily through those interactions with people. I had to be drunk. And I mean, I'd say on my rider, I need a bottle of tequila, beers and everything. And I would smash shots of tequila before I'd even start, like 4 or 5 shots. I mean, I'd get pissed. Yeah. And I think when I lost my TV show, got cancelled, and my father died at the same time, it all happened together. That was the turning point for me where my drinking went from fun and like into hardcore coping. I couldn't leave the house and face the world. So I was in drinking and doing drugs, and it was like I hated myself. I didn't want to be myself. I was embarrassed. Suddenly I had millions of followers that knew that I'd failed instead of millions of followers that laughed at me.
It's fucking hard as a British culture as well, isn't it? Because we do love to destroy people when they're at their highest. And I guess for you at that point, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I guess you were being booked as Dapper, but you, like you say, you're Daniel. But then where are the lines getting blurred?
Yeah, and I was pushing it because I thought, you know, people can see like this is, you know, in my mind back then as a comedian, I was like, anything goes in comedy. You know, it's comedy. Like, it's comedy, right? But no. And still, even to this day, people, I'll have interactions online, or I'll see people and they're like, yeah, but you think that and you believe this, you're misogynistic. And I could not handle, I handle rejection badly anyway, and I was in the wrong line of work because social media, I was in the wrong line of work because I was constantly seeking approval with my content. And I wanted to take my own life back then. Once my father died, one night I just got completely off my nut and considered it. I wanted to do it, and the only thing that stopped me was I was living above my dealer, in my dealer's flat in the room above him. Like, I broke up with my missus, and he had white carpet, and I wanted to slip my wrists, but I just didn't want to wreck his carpet. That was the thing that was in my mind. I was like, I can't do that because I'll ruin his carpet. And somewhere in that madness of sniffing gear and thinking about taking my own life, I rang the Samaritans. But that still wasn't but it still took 7 years to get sober from that point. But I rang the Samaritans and realised that I was fucked, and realised that something was seriously wrong. And I had to learn to like myself again, but it was a long time drinking and escaping. And that's how I believe I became an addict, by hating myself.
For young men at the moment, I'm talking like maybe 18 to 25, like it can be a really scary place trying to find where you fit in the world. And there are some people online who pull them in a really dangerous direction.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think the group that you've got, I actually didn't know it existed till today, like so fucking admirable, because, you know, going to football a lot, and we talk about this all the time, isn't it? Like there's a lot of men that work with other men, and there's only around men, and the culture's just like, oh, and finish work at 4, and they get on the beer and they get on the bags and they have to go home to their missus. Like, it's a self-perpetuating culture.
Yeah.
So a space where they can go as like, actually, do you know what? Like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah, and it's not just about alcohol and drugs, and it's about absolutely everything that men are going through. You can post anonymously on Men and Their Emotions. It's on Facebook. But the beautiful thing about it is men holding men accountable. So say, for instance, a man goes in there and says, you know, he's going through parent alienation, he can't see his kids, and he hates his ex-wife, and it's this money, and I'm going to take my life because, you know, you got men going in and saying, but what did you do? Like, how did it get to this point? You know, is your addiction an issue? Is the safeguarding for your kids a priority here? You know, there's like serious conversations in there by your peers, not a fucking psychologist or a police officer or someone that's looking down on you. And you can see lads going, all right, okay, maybe I need to step back, work on myself, come back to the situation. And that's what I've tried to do with, I mean, I think emotionally I'm mature, but I'm still very immature in the way that I respond and react to, like I've got an ego that I'm constantly battling. So I try and learn, but if someone pushes me too much, I can be a bit of a dick. Do you know what I mean? But I am prepared to acknowledge I've been a dick.
Yeah.
And that's my work that I'm constantly trying to do. I just want to stay sober and keep sharing and trying to help, really, I guess.
Well, I think it's admirable, you know, that you've been so open with, like you say, the stuff that you have fucked up with.
Yeah, you got to be, I think.
Because you do, because actually it's when you don't that people, you know, can't relate to it. You've got a load of lads that are going, well, why do I fuck up like this if no one else does? But I think the fact that you speak about it,
that's exactly it,
is makes them go, shit, I'm not alone in doing that, and actually I can improve myself.
100%.
I can work on my shit and get it together. And I think it's like whatever your motivation needs to be. I mean, you know, you said you've got 3 daughters. I think for me, like my son was like a big motivation to go sober and be better, because it was similar. I mean, you kind of witnessed it. I went through a period where I had, like, you know, I guess some success in music. I'm not an artist, even though I was at this point, did a song that went #1 everywhere and going around, and I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to ever be like
scared you a bit.
Yeah, and like suddenly you're playing like the Jingle Bell Ball and playing the O2 and doing all this stuff, and it was like, well, just drink, you know, because
this isn't me. Someone's going to find out this isn't me.
Yeah, and I think that's like a big thing for me. And then it was like, okay, shit, I am in danger of losing, you know, my fiance at the time. And, you know, and then suddenly it kind of had this kind of moment where I'm like, well, how would it be if I could only see my kid every other weekend, or I could do that? And I think, like, for me, that was like such a big motivation to go, I need to sort my shit out, and I'm going to do 100 days off alcohol, because I've never done more than 30 days in my life. I did the occasional dry January, and that was enough for me to go, good on you, mate, you're fine, you haven't got a problem.
Let's fuck the year up. Yeah.
Like, go February the 1st, and I'm back on it, and it's into the carnage. So it was like that 100-day period to have a bit of, and it's like you said, when you did like the MMA and maybe had a bit of time off, it was getting that like clarity where I was like, oh shit, like there is life beyond this. And you know, we did the maths, didn't we? We spent between 18, I stopped drinking at 33. So in a 15-year period, we worked out, even if I was like drinking twice a week, it would have been 4 years and 3 months out of a 15-year period I would have been drunk, and another 4 years and 3 months hungover.
What a waste of your life, isn't it?
8.5 years between 18 and 33, when I was trying to find my career, meet someone, parent. I spent half of it not being myself. Yeah,
I think, wow, first of all, to have the foresight to see the problem, is the problem that a lot of men have out there. It's so, and this is what my film said, I'm not trying to plug it because it's not out yet, but I wrote this film through my sobriety while I was doing my podcast. Everything I was learning, all the conversations I was having in the group, I'm an actor, so I wanted to act, and I wanted to channel. Like, I'm a firm believer of the more you go through in your life, the more you have to help other people. And I try and say that to everyone in my group. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing, mate, that you've been through all that. Now you can use all that to help other people. You know, it's all about perspective with me. Like, the biggest, like, and the most work that I do constantly is trying to work out why my mind's constantly trying to play tricks on me. And my massive turning point in my sobriety was when I started noticing my triggers and started labeling them as triggers or energy in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I was fighting these urges and these, oh man, fuck, is this what my life's going to be like? Just constantly disappointed that I can't drink and can't sniff gear and can't go to the pub and can't go to festivals and can't go on stag do's and this is shit. And I was like, romanticizing all the good parts of drinking and doing drugs and not the bad things. But then I started delving deeper into it and like really trying to go, what's that, mate? Why? So like, why? So like, getting on a train and coming into London. If it was dark outside and it was a Friday, I was like, I'm getting fucked tonight.
Yeah.
And then, but I'd have the other feelings first. It would be, why do I feel like I want to drink? Oh my God, I'm going to drink. Am I going to drink? Am I going to fuck this up? And then I'd have to go, what was the energy in my mind? What was the thought? Oh, the trigger was the lights, Friday, other people getting excited about going into town. You've done this trip every weekend for the last 20 years and it's resulted in you sniffing gear and walking the streets of London late at night with your pals drinking. Of course you're going to think that. And then once you connect the dots, for me it was like that anxiety and that wanting to drink dissipated because I was like, I've worked it out.
Yeah.
And then I started doing that with every single fucking trigger. The sun's out, bank holiday weekend, I had an argument with my missus, I just want to go and drink, or whatever. And that was really that was really like the, you know, when people say you got to work on your sobriety, I used to go, because for me, like, I box, right? So I'd be like, right, so what have I got to go and punch the punch bag? What do you mean fucking work on the sobriety? How?
Yeah. Like,
go and look at a pint and go, don't do that, we'll get a bag of gear and go, no, I'm not going to sniff that. What's the work? And then I worked out that's the work for me. Identifying the triggers constantly. Like, I have a creative brain. I think my brain's a beautiful place. But sometimes it gets into really negative thought loops. Yeah. No one likes you. You know, you're going to fuck this up. You're going to get found out. You're going to lose all your money. You're going to lose your house. You're going to end up in the press again. So-and-so doesn't like you. And I'd be like, oh, hold on a second. Now when that cog starts ticking, it might take me a little while, but I go, whoa. I realise I can manage my thoughts. And that was the massive turning point for me. And it's not being able to manage them thoughts that kill men.
Yeah.
It's the shame and guilt. You know, what you were talking about when you were going, when things started happening and you were getting pissed. The shame and guilt of what you're doing is what destroys your mental health. And then you had the foresight to go, if I only got to see my kids on the weekend, that shame and that guilt, I'm not going to be able to fucking handle it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like with me. I was like, when my girls are 16, 17, these young, beautiful girls, and they're going to look back, how are they going to remember their dad? I mean, it's bad enough when they fucking go on Google. Do you know what I mean? but I mean,
you're like with banned internet in this house, like North Korea and the O'Reilly household.
Yeah. They'll all have fucking purple hair and be feminists or something. I know it. But what are they going to remember from their childhood? And that's that because I see every single day. And I was at a point in my life when I wanted to take my own life because I was shameful and guilty about what I'd become, and I hated myself. And that is what my film's about. That's what that group's about. That's what this is about. That's what everything I talk about. Lads, you have time to make yourself proud, but there will come a point, with the tipping point, where it's too late.
Yeah.
Where it's too late, you'll lose everything. You try and get sober once you've lost everything, it's fucking 10 times hard. You know, we've got kids. You know, imagine trying to get sober once everything's fallen apart.
Yeah.
And that's the message that I put out there, you know. That you might think it's just that your missus is pissed off at you because you're getting pissed up every weekend, and the relationship is fucked because she's having a go at you because you just want to enjoy yourself and she's having a go at you. But actually, technically, and this is what I learned, you are being a fucking arsehole.
Yeah.
And you're struggling to transition. That's what it is, transition from one point in your life to the next. The sesh days were great, but now you've got a house, kids, a mortgage, responsibility. I'm 41. Like, I should not be in a pub toilet sniffing gear. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. And the lads that are hitting that thing and going, I've got to take the sesh with me somehow. It's got to come. I can be a good dad and sesh at the weekend. I'm sorry, you can't, mate. And the struggle that you're having in your mind and with your wife is because you know you can't, and the shame and guilt of it is destroying it. Anyway, sorry, that's
nice, mate. Oh,
I was gonna say it's bang on, and I think like you're right. And ultimately, you know, I don't want to point the finger and be, you know, judgmental to, you know, I've still got mates that drink and like it, but I think when it comes to parenting, I do feel strongly about that you are not going to be able to be present. You're not going to be able to give your like time to your kids if you're spending it in bed fucking hungover, or you haven't slept, or you know, because sure, like in that first couple of years I wouldn't miss out on anything. If I said I was going to take Littleton down to Peppa Pig World, I'd do it even if I still hadn't slept. Like I don't know, is he
but you didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it, and it's like it's just not on. So I think like what you're doing is a really good thing, and it's admirable. And I think like to be able to talk about sobriety, I mean, how long have you been sober now?
993 days.
Oh, you're about to hit the
So I'm about to hit
1,000.
Yeah,
we were talking about this because we both hit 1,000 in the last few months. Weirdly for me, 1,000 days felt more monumental than 2 years and 3 years, because I think when you see it go to 4 figures, that's a really fucking long period of time.
Yeah, I had an experience. It was my brother's wedding a few days last week. I think it was my brother's wedding. Yeah, last week. Big build up to my brother getting married, and he hadn't asked me to do anything. You know, no groomsman duties, no talking on the mic or anything like that. And he was quite, I think, conscious about doing that. He was like, just, you know, I think he sees everything about me all the time, my social media and stuff like that. It's like it's his day.
Yeah.
And I was very conscious of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew that there was going to be people there, like his friends and stuff like that, and people that I'd known and people I didn't know and everything like that. And I can fall into the trap when I'm nervous of trying to be center of attention. I'm terrible for it, and I don't mind admitting it, especially when I was drinking. And for the first time ever, I didn't think about alcohol until I went to bed.
Amazing.
Until I got upstairs and went and got into bed with my wife, because we stayed there. I just suddenly went, fucking hell. Not once in the evening did I look at anyone drinking and think I wish I was drinking, or was tempted to drink, even when people were fucked. And I was so comfortable with hiding in the corner. I arrived, I said a lot, because I worked out what it is I used to do. I used to get to an event where there was loads of people. I used to think, I'm not really comfortable being me. I want to be funny. I want to be the center of attention. I want people to like me. That's what it was. I want people to like me. So I better speed this up. I better speed that version of me up. So I'd get there and I'd be like, beer, shot. Woo, woo, woo. I'm here now.
Yeah.
How you doing? This version they're going to like. But actually it was the opposite, because suddenly you're fucking trying to be center of attention at your brother's wedding, and everyone's like, you're right, mate. And you're trying to be the fucking funny guy. Yeah. Whereas what happened to me was I went there with my wife, and my wife even said to me afterwards, it's so nice to be with you on a night out, because you used to disappear, come back, and I'd just be sat there. And what happened was I was nervous, like I normally am around people, and I sat, relaxed, kept myself to myself. Some people come over. Slowly I started meeting pockets of people and getting to know them. Then suddenly I found myself at a table, and I was saying a couple of funny anecdotes, and people were laughing. And that happened later on in the evening, once everyone was comfortable with everyone. And that was a lovely little moment. I was like, oh, look, I'm still funny.
Yeah, still got it.
I still got it. And then sat with my missus and the night. And then my brother wandered over and was like, oh, lovely evening, da-da-da. And woke up in the morning, not one fucking bit of conversation was about me or stuff I'd done, or I didn't have any guilty feelings. And I just thought to myself, what a fucking turning point in my life that is.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, like how did I manage to get from being unable to do this sober to enjoying it more?
Yeah, that's amazing. Your relationship with your wife, if you don't mind, because you sort of said you went through a period where she sort of kicked you out and you come back. How's that been in your sobriety? Do you feel stronger than ever?
Yeah, it's complex, but I'd be dead without her, I think, 100%. She stuck by me for so long through everything, for like 10 years, like through me just constantly being on the smash, publicly causing so much stress for our family. You know, she was in the papers. She's part of that. Her family sees everything that's happening. I'm doing wild things, you know, stand-up comedy tours, It's all about me. Everything's about me. And I pushed and I was having these mental breakdowns on come downs, you know, where I'd be like, fucking hell, like storming out of the house and like really losing my mind. And she just had enough of it, and she was just like, what actually happened was we'd had an argument because she'd asked me to go sober before, and she was like, can't you see it, like these arguments you're causing, and like we've got kids. And I said to her there and then, all right, I ain't fucking doing no more coke, that's it. And she was like, what about the drink? I was like, oh, come on, like even after like 6 months of carnage. And then I went, all right, I'll calm down on the drink. And we were flying out to Marbella for a film premiere the next day, and she managed to convince me not to drink or do drugs in Marbella for the sake of our relationship. And she came with me after I'd caused so many problems with her and her family and that. As soon as we landed, I'd drunk and done drugs. As soon as we landed. And she flew home and said, it's over, you know, you can't come back. And I knew. I sat there and I went, mate, how the fuck can you do that? What is wrong with you? And I was there for like 4 days. And then finally plucked up the courage to sort of admit to myself that, sorry, it's fucking a bit emotional, but finally sort of plucked up the courage that I was like, yeah, I can't do it because it's probably going to kill me, because I didn't want to, I just felt that feeling again where I didn't want to be here. And then I knew for the sake of me, not even for her or for the relationship, that I just had to stop. So, sorry.
Mate, not at all. So you should be so fucking proud of yourself.
Yeah,
to get to that point, you know.
Yeah, but what an arsehole. But sometimes we've got to hit our rock bottom and fuck everything up. And took her a long time to trust me again. And I got better for myself. I went rehab and got sober and dedicated myself to getting sober, and just wanted to see the kids and stuff like that. So I saw the kids, and then slowly she let me back. And I think it probably took about maybe a year for her to trust that I was serious about it. And now she writes like in cards and stuff to me about how proud she is and that. Sorry.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, nice.
She sounds like a diamond. So
yeah, you got to be careful, lads. Anyone that's watching, that if you've got one that's encouraging you to change, if you lose her, you might not be able to. So you've got to change. And it's gave me back my family. It's took me back in. I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm crying on the podcast again.
Nah,
Don't be silly, man.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I love her very much. I'd like to renew the vows one day and do the wedding sober. That's my biggest regret. But we're better than we was before ever. You know what I mean? Like I got my fourth. I've had 2 kids since I've been sober. I mean, I've had one, and then I got another one in the oven. So she, you know, she can't keep her hands off me now. Do you know what I mean? But like, I'm not to be crude, but the chemistry is better. Our relationship is better. She's not a twat anymore. Like I actually used to think to myself that I didn't want to be with her because she was so horrible and like always moody and always having a go at me and didn't connect with my friends or my family. And now I realise, because I said to myself, if I get sober and I change everything in my life and we still don't work, then you know, then you know, I've got to let it go and we don't work. But suddenly when I got sober, she was full of life again and happy and encouraging and, you know, and fun. And like now she takes the piss out of me. She's having a laugh. She gets on with my family. The friends that I've got left, she gets on with. And it was like, I kind of know what it is now. It's like everyone else had a version of me that they saw.
Yeah.
And then she had a different version of me at home.
She had the one at home that was
she had the one at home
that was angry.
Yeah. She had the one that was leaving her at the parties and that. And now everyone's got the same version, you know.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, we're talking about episodes that we're going to do next season, and one of them I'm going to do with my wife.
Oh,
and
my
it's
God.
going to be tough because she's had 3.5 years of me sober, but she's also had like pretty much 6 years of me on the sesh.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going to be a tough episode to like, you know, we've talked about stuff obviously, but I think for her to like, there's so many times where I've sat down with her since I've been sober, and I was like, why the fuck did you stay with me?
Yeah.
And like, it's amazing that she did, because it'd be a lot of the time going out on on a Friday night and suddenly coming back on Sunday. I was like, in what fucking world is that ever like a thing?
How much of that would you put up with a girl? You were, well, not even once, would you? Or once?
I said,
it's mental, isn't it?
I said that. I was like, how and why? And you know, I think she's just always said, she was like, I just always hoped that this would happen.
Yeah, I think also we've got a culture. in the UK, and that's what the sessions is about. It's about how cocaine culture, sesh culture has defined a generation, and it has given us all these mental health issues and addiction problems because it is completely fine. You know, in some relationships, they're like, do you know what? I fucking hate him because he disappears for weekends at a time, sniffing gear and doing God knows what. But boys will be boys. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's
how
kind
is
of
that acceptable?
how it's almost acceptable. And I used to be the one going, well, look at your house, look at your car. Like, you can have whatever you want. Like, shut up. Like, what's your problem? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in fact, I think one of the hardest reasons, or one of the hardest parts of going sober, and I was very adamant that I faced myself in the early days, and I wanted to get that out of the way as quick as possible. I wanted to find out from her what I was really like and how it felt. And I caused a lot of problems in our family because, you know, instead of like being honest about my behaviour, I'd say to like my mum and other people, she's being out of order. Do you know what I mean? She's causing problems. She doesn't, you know, she's being, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I caused friction because I wasn't honest about what I was doing. And, you know, when you're sober, hearing that stuff about yourself, you instantly want to escape yourself, don't you? And drink. So that's why I think it's so hard for people to get sober, because you have to face yourself and become yourself. You have to become the very thing that you were trying to escape. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
You have to face the shame, don't you? Yeah. And you have to. It's part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah, and be comfortable being yourself, which I think as human beings we don't.
No, like. that's the goal.
It's fucking
isn't it?
Scary, isn't it?
Sorry, I've spoke so much. Sorry.
No, mate, it's been beautiful.
Not at all. And like, I think what you're actually doing in the communities, like you built, are really, really important. And you know, I think there's a lot of people that are benefiting from it. So
same as you. You must have people come to you and speak to you about seeing your podcast and seeing your clips. I see your clips all the time, and it may like, that's why we were DMing and everything like that, because I sometimes feel like a bit weird talking about it. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we find this, you sort of, sometimes when we don't have guests, it's just us two chatting, and then you put it out into the ether and you kind of forget about it. It's out there. And I've had it a few times where, obviously I've never been in the public space, I'm a manager, but I've had people stop me on trains, I've had people stop us in festival fields. And
that's what's important.
And it's beautiful, because it's funny when you do this and you're talking out, like I guess there's some perception that it might be some form of ego that we're doing this, but genuinely for the first time in my life, I'm just doing this to pay something forward. And our motto is like, if this helps one person, it's worth it.
And it will. And I've seen, honestly, I've scrolled and I've stopped on your clips many times, and I've listened and I've gone, oh yeah, thank you, man. Because I'm like, with addiction, every fibre of our body, like, I don't know if you're the same as me, but I feel like every fibre of my being is pulling me in a different direction to, you know, I have to work on staying positive about it. Do you know what I mean? Even though the fruits of my labour in front of me, my kids are happy, I've got a new baby, another one on the way, Mrs. is happy, work's going well, you still, there's something, maybe it's just years of doing it, there's still something in your mind that's kind of like, is this really me? It's not me. Do you know what I mean?
I have the same as you. I have that like 4 a.m. wake up even now, which was awful. And I used to be coked up because you go to bed and it'd be like, this person hates you. This is shit. You're going to lose this. Money's going to vanish. Mate. Like all those things. I still get them a little bit now, but I'm exactly the same as you. They start and I go, nah, think of everything you got. It's cool. And I can get back to sleep. Whereas before I'd be awake for I'd be geared up, go to bed at 4 in the morning, literally not sleep, and then have to get up and whether it's go to football or go to a gig or something. And those thoughts would just be there. So what's the way to quieten the thoughts? Just get back on it, and you're bang on. Like then you make bad decisions. You stay out. You piss off your partner.
Yeah, I used to. Recently, when I was shooting sessions, I had to sniff fake coke in it. So it's like glucose or something.
How was that?
B12. Do you know what? My co-star in it, Jonas Armstrong, he's an actor who's been in. You recognise his face. He's been in loads of stuff. He's on a journey as well, and it made him very angry. So there was like I hope he doesn't mind me talking about it, but I guess there's a version of him that when he drinks and does coke that's quite angry. So when we were shooting scenes, we were supposed to be doing one thing when the director was like, this is what you're doing. As soon as he started doing it, he was like, fucking He like started fucking fuming and like screaming and shouting. It like just came out of him. Wow. And then he said, I can't do no more. That's it. Whereas me, it was the opposite. I was like, I'll do some more. I was like, woo! I was like, fucking, everything come back to me. I was chatting shit to people. I was like fucking bum, 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 bum. Like, do you know what I mean? I was the geezer, and I was fucking still. I was like, I'll do some more. Should we do a key? Should we do some from notes, and should we sprinkle some? I was getting right into it. But then, like, so I felt good about doing it, and then afterwards I was like, how do I feel? And then we were doing night scenes, so I got dropped back off at my hotel just as the fucking sun was coming up and the birds were tweeting.
Oh, that's
and
the
I was
worst.
walking back to my hotel room, and I was like I was almost running back to my room. I was like walking really fast. I felt everything from that moment that we used to have. Got back and I got under my covers and I was like, just go to sleep. But I was like, am I going to relapse and and all this stuff. So it was difficult.
It's interesting. My girlfriend really, because she's sober as well, we're both sober, and we met both being sober, which is such an interesting dynamic. But my big trigger still is the birds.
Yeah.
So we'll be out somewhere on holiday, and if we go out at like 5 or 6 in the morning, like for a coffee on holiday, and the birds are tweeting, she's conscious enough to be like, are you all right? And sometimes you're not. You're like, well, I just went to my cousin's wedding in Turkey. And like I was walking up the strip at like 6 in the morning, and these birds were going, and it was so familiar to me laying in my bed, off my nut. I was like, I felt it's weird. It's so weird how the brain can trick you back to somewhere that you've left far behind.
They're just triggers, aren't they? And just recognising them is like the main thing, isn't it?
Fucking birds.
The birds are the worst.
You know what I mean? Like,
birds are the worst.
out of all the things in the world that would ever trigger me, it's fucking birds.
It's mental, isn't it? Well, how are you guys? I don't know if you guys need to cut off soon.
No, we're good.
How are you guys around? If you don't mind me asking, because it's something that I'm trying to get back into, or at least be comfortable with. How are you around drunk people and coked up people, or have you been recently?
I vowed to myself that I didn't want to stop living the life that I enjoyed, and with work, festivals, and with football's the one thing away, because work's so stressful. Going to West Ham's always been the one thing that's kind of kept me a bit sane, but it was the one thing that really exacerbated my drinking drugs. So I've really tried to immerse myself in it. I'm all right with people when they're at that like 3 or 4 beer fun stage, and they might be a little bit annoying, but for me, we always talk about this, it's like my car keys are always in my pocket. And at the minute that it starts to get a little bit tetchy, I'll be out of there. I called you when I was in Australia and my partner, because I was at an after show and it was 2 in the morning, and then suddenly there was just like bags and bags and bags and bags everywhere. And I don't think I wanted to do it, but it was very much like I could feel, it was almost like, see in movies where someone's getting drawn towards something. I could just feel my body slipping into this weird place. And I came out and I called my partner and I called you. And everyone was just like, you've left now, you're good, you get out of there. But I'm okay around it. I don't love it. It's just sometimes embracing that it is other people's part of culture.
Yeah, I'm the same. I vowed that when I stopped doing it all, that I wouldn't change a thing. And I think like for that first year, I really forced myself to continue being in the same social situations, which was probably, I just wanted to prove that I could do it. Whereas now I think, 3 years plus in, probably the last like 18 months, I'll stick around for a bit at the pub. I'll go, out with the lads. We'll go and have a few, and I thank fuck for 0 beers because I love it on drafts. Like, it's really good now.
I love the Asahi. Yeah.
Asahi's
our favourite. Yeah.
They've got like the Bitburger Drive now on draft at my local pub in Chiswick by the studio. And it's great. So I'll go out have a few beers. And then, once everyone's on the 5 or 6 beers and they've called it in, I'm like, nothing good happens from here. I'm out. Go home, get an early night, go and play golf early doors of the weekend. And I'm like trying to give myself things to do on those like early mornings where I would either still be out or in bed hungover. I think is like saved me.
Yeah.
So it's difficult though.
It is hard. I mean, I haven't trusted myself for a long time. I had to shut myself away. I think that caused friction with some of my friends. A couple of my friends are quite bad. I think like they're in a bad jam. One of my mates that I think was probably the worst out of us. I mean, he'd sit in his van, come home from work, go pub, and then sit in his van outside his house, just fucking going through them.
Jeez.
And then ring me and stuff like that. I had a very I just imagined that if I was at a pub and I saw him or saw them, and these are people I grew up with, I've known since I was like 13, 14 years old, that I wouldn't be able to handle it. And he recently wished me happy birthday. I hadn't spoken to him in about 6 months because the way things gone, and he messaged me and wished me happy birthday. And I messaged him back and said, how are you? And he said, yeah, I'm sober. I've been watching your videos. And he went sober.
Wow.
but he never told me. It's like he was kind of ashamed of it in front of the other boys, kept it quiet. And I was so happy. And then from that moment, I've weirdly felt a little bit more comfortable being around it. Because not so, it's so weird that I feel ashamed about my sobriety. But,
Mate, it's so interesting because you probably did definitely would have put a flag in the sand. And it's the same thing that's happened in sort of our friendship groups as well. There were probably like 4 or 5 mates that when I went sober, I was like, after sort of 6 months or a year, I was like, I know how fucking good these mates' lives will be if they do. And actually 2 of them went sober. Alex, who came on the pod.
Wow.
He's now 2 years sober. He ended up in a Hungarian prison for a few days. You know
what?
Like, yeah, he tells the story on the pod. Yeah, it's mad.
What did he do? Just if you don't mind me asking.
He got in a big brawl out there, and then
battered a copper, didn't he?
Yeah, and then like when all the police came and it was all in the ruckus, he ended up knocking out a police officer, and it was bad. But he's like my kid's godfather. He's an amazing human being, but I was like, mate, you just fucking need to like, and he did. And then
that's amazing.
Sammy, who came on the pod. And then I've got a couple of other mates. So actually, when I did my stag, I was probably 2 years in for my stag do.
No,
maybe
1 year in.
1.5 years in,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Like, ended up being 20 of us out there, and actually 6 of us on the stag, or 7 of us when the stag were sober. And it was mad.
I think there's definitely something happening, isn't there? Like, I definitely felt like when I went sober, it was like almost like I became. You know, those priests that like fucking like hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Like that's how
Get the sex demon apart.
Yeah. Like I was like, I'm sober. I can remember one of my mates going, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like I can remember him literally saying to me, "Fuck, Shelley, mate. What do you mean you're sober? You're not going to drink beers?" Like it was like, and I can remember the reaction I was getting. I was like, I've got to do this, so they got to go. Sorry, like it's weird, but that's my mentality. Was like anyone that's not supportive of me has got to go, like,
yeah.
And but now I feel like it's people are kind of, maybe it's just our age. I don't know how old you lads are. How old are you?
We're coming up to
36.
37.
Yeah,
right, yeah, okay. So I think that's what it is. Yeah. I think it's maybe this has been going on for millennium, and we feel like
we've cracked it, guys.
Yeah,
we've cracked it.
Maybe this has been going on since the Roman times. That geezers get to about 40 and go, yeah, maybe I should stop fucking about. But yeah, thank you for having me on, man, because like on the way up here, I was like, it's just going to be good to have a little chat about that area of my life again and just get things moving again in there, because I've been even though everything that I do is mental health based and the film's about all that stuff, it's good to look back.
Yeah.
Right,
see how far you've come.
Right.
100%.
Well, we're going to finish on 3 questions. So first one is for anyone who's thinking of going on a journey of sobriety. What's your single best piece of advice?
Oh, wow. Work on your mental strength. My best piece of advice would be, while you're dealing, like once you decide to go sober and while you're dealing with everything else that goes on around that sobriety journey, the chaos, spend some time doing stuff that you don't want to do, that will give you long-term benefits. So really focus on things that are hard to do, that you don't want to do, that will give you long-term benefits. For instance, boxing. I started boxing, got beaten up a lot, didn't enjoy it. It's really hard. You don't see any benefits for a long time. I was running, really difficult to start running first of all. You struggle, you don't see any benefits for a long time. And it will reprogram your mind into doing hard things for long-term gratification instead of doing easy things for short-term gratification. You've got to rewire your brain from going, I want this for pleasure. It has, you like cold dips, whatever. Find something that you fucking hate doing. Go and see the in-laws. No. So, but find something that you hate doing and do as much of it as you can, because then what you're subconsciously doing is overriding a voice in your mind. Like your voice is saying, I don't want to do this. I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock. Well, my boxing's at 5:15, so I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and that's the first thing. I don't want to do this, and you override it, and you do it. You do the boxing, you override it, and then when slowly what you'll see is when the thoughts of drinking and drugs come in, you've learnt to override. You've learnt to You know.
Yeah, that's really good.
Love that.
Question 2: what's the single best thing that sobriety has brought you?
My family, being a father. Yeah, happiness, man. Like, I don't know how to put it. Like, maybe pride, but it's my family.
Yeah.
It's giving me my family back, yeah.
It's
Amazing.
great.
And number 3, we would like Daniel to write a letter to drunk, geared up Daniel. So if you could say, "Dear Daniel," what would you say to your former seshy self?
Dear Daniel, you're running out of time. You've got to sort it out quickly before it's too late. And you're just as... No, you're even more likeable sober. That's it, really.
Love that. Mate, thank you so much for coming on. That's been an incredible hour of conversation.
I'm
Really
sorry I
appreciate
cried,
it.
mate.
No,
Mate, don't worry.
be sorry.
I've cried more times on this podcast than I think I've cried in my life. So
Yeah.
Nah, thank you, Anne. And
Thank you so much.
thank you for everything you're doing as well. It's great.